like Facebook comments.
Mm-hmm.
So
Let's see.
maybe we are live.
We are live.
Can you see us?
Yep. Okay. We're live.
We are live. Sorry,
All
we
right,
are
hold on.
late tonight.
We are not late. We are always on time.
That is right.
Hold on, I'm gonna put some theme music on for us.
Moving that body.
Everybody.
You know that it's kind of funny.
Everybody.
You do that.
Everybody. There you go.
At my job, they were laughing. I have a
They wanted you
coworker
so
and
damn
I.
hard. All right, so we have some theme music tonight.
You know, it's kind of funny at my job. We there's I have one coworker who we're just silly, but you got to do that. You got to
You really
make the
do.
day go through, and like we'll do crazy dances. And some other coworkers have started noticing that her and I do this, and like they're just rolling their eyes at us. And like we started it out early this morning, because normally it's like midday we kind of start doing it. Well, there was some
Good.
like good music popping on this morning, and so
All right.
her and I were dancing, and they're like, "Oh, they're already dancing." And we're like, "Yeah, because it's gonna be a great day today." But
Exactly.
people don't realize, music. You need
Just the
music. You need
energy.
it in your soul. How do you
Yes.
think you move the energy? How do you think?
I
And
don't know how they do it.
I mean, and it's like people they don't get that of like moving the soul. But think about it about how when your favorite song comes on, what does your body automatically do?
You start
It's
shaking and moving. I start singing.
and that's expressive, and that's people don't realize that that is such simple therapy, such simple
Yes.
ways to move the energy, just
Yes.
that stagnant in you of just get up and move. If you're
Yep.
having a bad day, or you're in a bad moment, what's that one song that like anytime you hear it,
Happy.
happy, okay, there you go, but hum it,
Or this
you
one.
know
Break my soul. You won't break my soul.
open it.
I like to play that at work because that is how I'm thinking. I'm like, they ain't gonna break my soul.
Yeah, no. Well, me personally, I have to constantly say prayers of please put me in a protective bubble and protect me from other people's energies. Please make
Hmm.
it rubber and let it bounce back to them.
Yes, I like that. Release yourself. Release your soul.
Yes. Release. Protect me, though, because,
Yes. The thing is people don't realize that, when you begin this spiritual growth thing and you start awakening and all that, and especially if you're empath,
yeah.
I'll be vibrating.
And I don't think a lot of people understand, they hear the term empath and they don't know if they relate to it,
Right.
you know. And the real thing that I think that people don't understand about empaths is, and why they maybe don't, is embodiment.
Right.
You know, an empath, you have more compassion.
Yep.
You're sensitive to energies. So, like when you are around people and all of a sudden for some reason, you start shaking, or your nervous system, starts trembling, you're picking up on those people's energy. You're picking up on that energy and you are an empath.
Yeah.
And there are people who are more sensitive to it. There are, people who aren't. Like, I'm very sensitive to it. I'm very sensitive to other people's energies. And so, that's why, I laugh. But, I wear my bracelets. I have my chakra, I have my crystals. And,
Look,
constantly, on it because of the fact that they are there to protect you. But you have to also ask. Like, people sometimes are just like, well, how do you do this stuff? And I'm like, you just talk. You just,
I was gonna say that I think people don't realize or remember even that words are the way we create.
yeah,
That's how we create. And if we once we begin to connect to that, it's like magical, right?
it is. It's so magical. But I think everyone wants to complicate things.
Of course. People want to make things
Like,
hard.
And
Because
it's
if you make them hard, then you can use that as an excuse for
true.
not doing the work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You
But
just
it's
make
so
it
simple.
difficult.
It's so simple. It's so. That's
So,
what I
Carl,
love about these.
I want to share this card that I
What's that?
pulled for myself, and I think it's going to be relevant for a lot of people. But that's the card.
Ooh. God. And what have we been talking so much about here
There
lately
you
is the
go. That's why I
vision.
want to
So,
share. I'm gonna read the description. It says, "You were not born to play a small role in life. You have the ability to dream big, even if you have absolutely no idea about how your visions can come to pass or what all the details may look like. You can access the heart and guts of a vision by tapping into your wildest dreams and surrendering attachment to exactly how it will all work out. The details are up to the creative genius of the universe. You are an active, contributing participant, but not the sole player in your life journey." Now, there's a whole lot more, but I felt like we could start there because that is the part. It's like you are an active, contributing participant, but not the only player in your life journey. And so many times, people, as they awaken, they think that they're alone and it's just them.
yeah.
But it's a whole universe supporting you. You know, it's like, oh my God, now I'm here and I'm open and I can feel and I know that I can sense things and I just know things, I hear things, all of that. But it's just me, I'm the only one, or there's nobody else that understands me, right?
But I think it also, I think it goes down to comparing. And,
Yes,
and that
yes.
really limits, so many people. It's kind of funny and kind of healing. It's like, you talk about like different things. Oh, well, you think you had it bad. Well, I had
Yeah.
this. And it's like,
It's trauma bonding.
it's trauma, and everyone's trauma is different,
Right.
and people think that necessarily trauma is this big like explosive aspect, and what your
Yes.
trauma is versus what my trauma is it's very simple things. One, I think I've mentioned it again. Traumas are classified as three things: too much, too soon, too fast. And it's for your nervous system.
Yeah.
That's what creates. Was it something that happened too fast, too soon, or too much of it that you couldn't process it? You couldn't,
Yes.
and that creates that trauma. So how your trauma is to one person might have not been another trauma. And the sad part too about it is because that person might have been through the same ordeal, but they already learned necessarily what they were supposed to with it. So being presented with that wasn't traumatic to them
Right.
because they've already dealt with it. So that comparing of that of and that's blocking your vision. Because
Yes.
what is it? I posted a thing the other day. If you actually I forget what I exactly said, but if you can conceive it, vision, set out, and if you can see it, means that you can actually build that vision. Like actually close your eyes, daydream. And I posted a thing about daydreaming. If
Yes.
you can daydream, then you can conceive it.
Yes. I I absolutely that is powerful because I think what happens a lot of times is we stop dreaming.
Yeah, I was
We
guilty of
stop
it.
allowing the vision to come through us and from us. And it's almost it feels almost like it's like a death.
It is. But it kind of really is, and to take it, I think people get hung up on like a lot of the different words of different things
Hmm.
like that you do. Well, when you have no vision, I'm a chakra healer. I use the crystals. I'm very energy focused on the meridian points, and that's my gifts, that's my skills. But when you don't have that vision, when you don't have that daydream, your sacral, which is 2 inches below your belly button, is shut
Yes.
down. It
Yes.
could even be going backwards, which is causing health issues, which then, if you look in reproductive organs and stuff like that, if you have health issues that are around that type of area, the gut and all that stuff, it's your sacral. Your body
Right.
is speaking to you. Your body is telling you things, but we don't listen to it. But, of going in there is we've talked about, that faith, love, and sex, and not sex as, as being intimate with a partner, but it's that creative. We all
Right.
have those sex organs, which in essence is creative. We all got here by that act of creative. Well, we have to
Yes.
hone that in, and that creates that vision. But
Yes.
if you aren't connecting to that, of that love and that faith and that sex, that creative drive, well, you're perishing. And for those,
And that's what the Bible says
I
even.
was just going to say, and so for anyone who's
Without a
watching or
vision, the people
listening
perish.
who sits there and, of the Bible, they're not necessarily on the spiritual end of how we are. Well, the
Right.
Bible tells you so. And the
Hmm.
Bible also tells you to have love and faith. And that's, you got to build it. You got to hone in that
And
energy.
and that's so important. And it's so not talked about.
No, it's not.
You
And
know,
I've been
and then
having lots of conversations about it this past week, and it has been so eye opening to me of just how, I don't
spiritual
want to say
bypassing.
necessarily completely what?
Spiritual bypassing.
Well, yeah, 100%. But even, talking to people who aren't, on the spiritual end, that they are more on the religious, when you mention the word sex, it's like they just shut down.
Yeah. But
It's
sex is
just
good. God created it.
right. But
We need it.
it shows, I think, also necessarily the closed mind
Yeah.
of it, because you just go into sexual acts. You don't
Right.
look at sex as being that creative, that energy. And so it's
Yes.
kind of, it's like we have to open our minds up to expand our vocabularies a little bit as to what
Right.
sex really is.
I was going to say, and when you think about it, so many people, they look at sex in one way. They don't look at sex as an act of love.
Right?
I guess probably because of how they have,
We've been raised and we're
yeah,
told sex is bad,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I mean, let's get
Or,
real.
or some people believe that sex is just for procreation.
Yes. I
But
think that's a lot of people who
it
honestly
is.
think that.
But you also know that when you are, um, each person that you have sex with, you connect with on an energetic level.
Hmm.
That's the shit.
Yeah.
You connect energetically on that level with each person. So you think about it, you got a piece of all those people that you've been with.
Yeah.
So if you've been with a lot of people, then you're probably kind of schizophrenic in your energy. Right?
Well, but there's more truth to that in reality, because necessarily, low self-esteem, no confidence, you're using your body as your connection instead of, your natural gifts. You're looking for external validation. You're not looking internally,
Yes.
so necessarily a lot of your priorities are wrong because you're using that. And so you're not necessarily far off on that because of the fact that they're using it all in the wrong angle, the wrong aspect. And so many of us don't. And that's what people don't understand is, really on that healing journey, it's going in. It's going in to the deep, dark parts of us.
I love it. Oh my, I think it's so much fun. I want to check and see if we're on YouTube. Did you check?
Huh? No, I didn't check.
Let me check.
No, I figured if I at least got this going.
Yes. We are on YouTube, girl. We're on YouTube.
So I guess that is. I guess when we were trying it out earlier, when we disconnected.
You
it
know
shut it
what?
down.
That's this one.
What do you mean?
This is the one that we were trying out earlier. Let me see if I can find us live.
We'll figure this all out.
We will. I mean,
Everyone be patient with us.
I was going to say it's good. My thing is, it shows that we're human.
Hmm.
We love it.
We do, and we embrace it. The ups and the downs, the twists and the turns.
Especially at this time, and we realize that.
I mean, with retrograde right now, and the fact that we're sitting here trying to learn technology and communication, it tells you
And it is okay. It is
It
okay.
is.
I'm super, super excited about
Because
it, girl.
it teaches us patience also,
It
though.
does.
We understand that, there are going to be issues, but we're
Yeah,
human.
and and the thing is you know that this is a journey. It's not a we just did it like that, and all of a sudden here we are. Like right now, all of a sudden here we are, and this is happening, blah blah blah. But no, we're just gonna ease through it. We're gonna flow through it. We're gonna feel into it. We're gonna
Yeah.
move in the directions that we're being called, and that's how that goes. So
Well,
I'm
and it's
super
that
excited.
vision. We have that vision.
Yeah.
And I have, and that's so great that that card came out tonight because of the fact that that I've just been so much this week on just visions and on the spiritual journey. I don't know. Have you? A lot of people with like the video game. Like we're in a video game. Like everything's like an illusion
Oh yeah, yeah.
onto it. And a lot of that, like I listened to the stuff, and I've talked with people about it, but it never really clicked, like for me. And I actually, like in a meditation, like last night, it was all of a sudden, it was like, oh my god,
Ding.
I get it. Like I completely get it. I completely understand it now. Of like where like I was in my life, and like basically like the universe, God, spirit, or whatever, they've been calling me for years,
Yeah.
and I
You just
was
ain't been picking up the phone.
that was spam.
Mm-hmm.
I
You've
was
been,
ignoring. I was
you've been
ignoring
sending
that call. Yeah, I was
you've been sending
ignoring
the
it,
voicemail.
and they weren't leaving me messages.
And
They weren't leaving
they
me
were like,
messages.
this bitch gonna pick up.
Eventually, yeah. But and I thought about that, and it was just really, it was kind of like, and I think about like where and how, like the different points in my life, different things have come up, and then where I got, and we talked about it a few weeks ago, like those earthly tethers. Well,
Mm-hmm.
after that wall collapsed, and basically I was free. Because that's really, and like that kind of like I made a post the other day about like talking to a brick wall, and it kind of also changed my perspective about how like I was hidden behind these walls of illusion, these brick walls, yelling at them for so many years.
They
And
weren't moving.
they were moving. And finally, a massive storm came in and knocked them down. And I was free, but I had no idea where the hell I was going. I had
Yeah.
no idea which direction. I had no idea what was up, down, right, left, sideways. But I made it to a cliff. I made it to the cliff, and the reality is like I had this whole like vision come to me the other night, well last night, and I'm standing on that cliff, and I'm looking around and I'm looking around, and I'm like, I'm not going back. There's no way in hell, because that was hell. I'm not going back. But I'm looking down, and basically like to my far left is this bridge, the Rainbow Bridge that I want to be on. That's it. And so, like, I'm sitting here and I'm, like, analyzing, like, okay, well, how am I going to get to this bridge? Well, I love to free climb. I rock climb and stuff like that. And, like, I could climb that. I could climb this mountain on this cliff. I could climb down it, But looking at it, I'm like, I could die, too. And I really don't want to die because it's pretty high up. Or it's kind of clear if I jump. I might break a few bones and stuff like that, but I won't be dead. And so I jumped because I had faith, but I didn't have enough faith. So my wings did not open. And yes, I hit some rocks going down. I hit some, but I didn't break any bones. I didn't anything. I did land. But then I got down there, and guess what? That bridge is even further away. Now, I can't even see the bridge of where it is that I want to go, but what I do see is a deep, dark forest. The biggest forest of, like, and, I get to it, and it's scary. It is completely freaking scary. It is, I see monsters. I just see them, but I know my intuition, my gut, I got to go through this to find the forest. And I realized that, I started on my journey, and I went, and then I came to an oasis in the middle of the forest. I made my way. It was kind of safe. It wasn't that bad, but I got to an oasis. But we all know, what is an oasis? It's a mirage. It's an illusion.
I was gonna say it's what's the song I like? It's just an illusion.
It's just an illusion. And so, like I think of in my healing journey, like, I had done some work, I'd gotten there, and then I got to that oasis and things seemed kind of okay. And then the illusion. Everything kind of started happening and it was like, crap, I gotta go deeper.
Yeah.
I got
Woo!
crap.
That's the piece.
That is the piece. That's the realization. But I think of like how blessed I was and how much like I listened and I started getting into the embodiment and I listened to different things. And so on my journey, what did I do? I learned about sound therapy. I learned about crystals. I learned about chakras. I learned Reiki. I have learned TFT. Hand mantras. Therapy coaching and
I was gonna say a whole
trauma.
plethora of stuff.
A whole bunch, but like those are my gifts, my skills, and so that's like the video game, kind of aspect. Is that now like I'm going through this forest, and now it's like kind of like Mario Land or Mario like came up and is like the old mushrooms, and like but these are these skills of now like what I've learned, and this is what's going to protect me through the rest of the forest. As I'm making my way. And so now I'm protected by these things. I can change my vibration. I can calm my nervous system. I can make myself invisible to the predators. I can do all this. The meridian points, I can tap into my points.
Yes.
And I can get through that next step. And guess what? I made it to the damn Rainbow Bridge.
That's what I'm talking about.
And it just all like clicked, girl, last night about how like that's the video game. That's like how it is, and that's like kind of how you have to think, because I started thinking about like you and I, we have two completely different spiritual sets.
Right.
We have different paths, we have different things, but look, we still met up.
Because it was destiny for us.
It was destiny, but that's the beautiful aspect of looking at it as the video game. Because now my skills of what I've learned are going to help you. Your skills are going to help me.
Yes.
And now we continue.
We're going to help other people.
We're creating our little group, kind of, and we're picking up other people in that forest, that scary forest, that don't know where or how to go. They're like we were, and now it's like our skills. And so it's kind of like I'm a fairy goddess sorcerer. Is like what kind of like popped to me.
And for me, I see myself as Harriet Tubman, bringing the people. Well, we
had that conversation. I feel that way too because I'm that guide, and I see a lantern. I see myself in a cloak, and like I look like maybe like the hermit. Like you've seen like a lot of like the old tarot cards, and it's like the hermit carrying the lantern, covered. But then it's like I reveal myself and like I'm this fairy goddess.
So I was gonna say, I've been watching The Lord of the Rings.
That's hilarious.
The new one.
Oh, the TV show?
Yeah, it's on Amazon.
Yeah, okay. I saw a preview for it.
Oh, girl, it's so good.
Is it?
So good. It's only like I think it's like 2 or 3 shows on there now. But it's
so many
good.
of those shows, people don't realize of how they're speaking of the spiritual journey.
Yes, that's like what I was going to tell you.
Yeah. And so it's I don't know, it's just beautiful, to me, and it just kind of like even gave me like more of like confidence of like I'm on the right path. Like this is what
So I want to finish reading this card because everything that you're saying, you're going to appreciate it.
Okay.
So the rest of it is there is something, a vision or an idea that is coming to you. You may worry that it is too much for you, but don't worry. It is meant to be yours. Although you might have some adjustments to make and some tweaking to do as you let go of your limited thinking and open up to a fearless acceptance of bigger, brighter, more radical, and more potent possibilities of creatively living your light in the world. A sign that you are cracking out of your limited thinking to allow for a big, bold vision to come to you is that you might feel a little dizzy with the shrinking limitations and expanding possibilities of life.
That card is so fitting for me. Like,
right? You may wonder, me too. That's why I was like, oh, I gotta share this. You may wonder if you allowed to access so much wonder. Remember that in your healing and growing success, as you manifest this big vision, you can touch the hearts of others through your presence, your inner work, your art, and your choices. It's a win-win situation. Those that are meant to live big, bold, and visionary lives need to give themselves permission to break the mold and forge newer, more expansive perspectives of what is possible, what is permitted, and what is of service. It's even about letting go and opening up. Others will benefit from this. Even though it is your vision, it is not about you. You're being asked to remember that when something is right for you, endless synchronicities and support will flow your way at the right time and in the right way. Stay open, receptive, playful, and surrendered. This oracle brings you a message. You are about to receive or be invited to become part of a grand visionary beginning.
Oh my God, that is so, I 100%, like, you need to take a picture of that and send that to me, please.
I will. I was going to do that. It has the
Uh,
makings of something fantastic. No
and,
matter how the journey that brings the vision into reality unfolds, and there will be some twists and turns that you don't see coming, it is still helpful for you to be open to it. Trust your heart, be still with your choices, and when the time feels right and truthful, leap. This oracle brings a message for those who would like to further develop their intuitive sight. It is already happening. Trust in what you perceive, even if it conflicts with what everyone else around you is saying or the surface of things. Trust your inner perceptions. They are accurate and will be proven to be so later on.
I love it.
This oracle brings a general message of positive energy. Trust that things will be coming up roses for you. Even if everything seems to be in a bit of a shambles now, it's really just the essential mess before a truly spectacular success.
I,
Girl, and there's a
that
healing.
card is just, it truly, we've been talking about that faith and that surrender. And,
Yes.
I don't know if manifesting,
Yes.
everyone, wants, how do you manifest? How do you manifest? And,
Yes.
There's really three parts, which I posted the third part today, which, kind of a lot of people haven't, and it's kind of like baking a cake.
Yep.
You have ingredients, and if you miss the one ingredient, you can't. But the number one part of manifesting, which everyone forgets about because everyone does just look at it that it's, thought and emotions, which it is. Those are the two big ingredients of
Right.
manifesting. Because, and, think about, negative thoughts. Even if those negative thoughts are in the back of your head, that is the energy you're putting out. Because that's still, that's the backwards thought. And so you have to reprogram. You have to change your mind from it. But the thought, the vision, you have to have that emotion of happiness of, that it's going to happen. But then the third key is you have to have faith. You have to have true faith that manifestation of what you are putting out, that thought, that emotion, that vision, and it all connects. And it all also goes back to love, faith, and sex. Create it. That's how the manifestation, happens.
Yep.
And so that card is just so beautiful of everything of what we've been discussing this week and, what we've been posting. But people, you got to get clear on your visions. Like, what is it that you really see for you? And one thing, of talking to visions, also, people need to stop focusing on other people.
Right.
Because your vision can't necessarily, and people get a little confused when I say this, and it is, it's kind of a complex to it. But if you have people in your life, your vision, if you truly love those people and your vibration, your energy, your vision's going to come through to you, but they have free choice. They do have, free will. And so your vision, you have to create that for yourself and trust and have faith that the people that are surrounded by you come with you on it. As you elevate, they elevate as well. But you can't put into your manifestations of, I want, X, Y, and Z person for this, and this. You don't have control over that person. You don't have that power. You only have control over yourself.
Yep. That is absolutely the truth. The thing is, people don't, I don't know, I don't know what is so difficult about that to understand.
Well, but I think that, goes down to, the codependencies of everything that we've been talking about, the, enmeshment, people not having boundaries, not, people, everyone is, you're mixed this, or, you think that, you're in inner circles with people, so you treat people this way, or you treat people that way. It's all combined. It's, it's all, you can't have one without the other. And so it's really like
peanut butter and jelly. I mean, you can eat peanut butter and you can eat jelly, but they ain't gonna be the same.
No.
You want peanut butter and jelly.
Yes, that's a great analogy too. Right. But it goes with that ingredients too. How do you make peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Well, you can't have one without the other, or sugar and Kool-Aid.
Exactly.
Kool-Aid without the sugar.
Yeah, sweet tea. I mean, you can't have tea without sugar.
Right. Onto it. But we all want to throw in all these other ingredients to it. And it's like, guys, let's keep it simple. We focus on us. We focus on us and not the external world. Because, and even it's a hard thing as a even as a mother, that is something very hard to think of. Because, like, when you think of, like, what you're trying to create for you, your children are there along with.
Yes.
But your children have free will too. Your children do have the choice, whether some parents want to realize that or not. Your children do have the choice whether to follow you or not.
Right.
They do. And you cannot control them. They are their own human beings with their own feelings, their own emotions.
And the thing is, why would we want to do that? Why do people want to control their children? I'm saying, why do we want to? You know what I mean? I never wanted to do that for mine.
Yeah, but I think so many people are like taught. Like, that was, with me, with narcissistic parents, I mean, it was all about control. That famous saying, which people don't understand, like, just how abusive it really is. Children are to be seen and not heard.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, what, they're just supposed to be statues? They're just supposed to...
that...
See, I was raised that way.
I was going to say, that years ago, people had children to work.
Yeah.
They had farms, and so they needed to have all these kids so they could work the farm.
Yeah, and that was their place, and that was it. Onto it, but and it goes though again, with that. But you can't, you can't, and so it's still, as you are bettering yourself,
right?
When you are doing, your children will see that, and because there should be that unconditional love. And that connection, that bond there, that you have formed and created off of genuine, authentic love, I mean, I think it's a hard concept for people to realize, but, just because they're your kids doesn't mean they have to love you. Doesn't mean that they like you.
Doesn't mean they even love you.
No. But it's how did you create that bond with them? Like my parents, unfortunately, I don't love my parents. I was their punching bag, I was. So how could that relationship, how could that bond be formed when all that I grew up with was my nervous system constantly being attacked and being on eggshells around them? Because I never knew if it was a hit, if it was coming out, because our tongues are the greatest weapons that we have. I didn't know if it was coming out of that. I didn't know or anything like that. So that bond was never created. There was no bond. There was no loyalty. But for so many years, that stigma of society of, well, that's your parents, that your parents. So I was taught to tolerate.
That one.
Yeah, taught to tolerate my parents, that this was accepted, that this was just how it was. No matter how much I knew it didn't resonate with me, how much I knew it was hurting me, you know. And my wake up call, you know, with that wasn't until with my kids, because I, you know, I like gave my parents a chance to, because it can happen, you know, just because, you know, they're
Yeah.
horrible parents doesn't mean that they're horrible grandparents. And you know, I was even talking with another person the other day about that, and they were like, with narcissists, they think they do it purposely to hurt the kids.
They
You
do.
know, they do onto it, and so,
Because they
but
don't
like, you
care
know,
about the kid.
no, no, but again, it's all about that. It's that external image. You know, it doesn't have anything to do about love or bond or creation or any of that
Right.
type of stuff. But you know, they could have it, and like with my parents, I was hopeful. Like I gave them the benefit of the doubt. You know, of it of, well, maybe you were horrible parents. Maybe you'll be good grandparents. You know, I wanted that, you know, opposite effect. I wanted to see, you know, I held out that hope that I was going to see that side that I
Right.
always believed was a part of them, because,
Right.
you know, and let's throw in another, you know, the law of polarity.
Right.
There, if you are depressed, there is a side of you that is happy and
Yes.
excited. You know, if you
Yes.
are in anxiety, there is a part of you that is calm. So, you know,
Yes.
I hope that my parents would, that, you know, the law of polarity, it would
Well,
happen, but it
and not
didn't.
only that, I was gonna say you would think that as they get older,
Yeah.
they start realizing their mortality and shit, and they start wanting to act better.
Nope. And not for
You
mine.
know, it's like you would think that, because I notice I work with a lot of old people, and I noticed that some of them, their kids can't stand them, don't never come see them, never call them, nothing,
Yeah.
nothing. And then there's other ones. Those kids are always there, and if you when the pandemic happened, it was really a struggle for them because they were always seeing their parents. Like we have one young lady, she comes every night to work with her mom because her mom is
Now,
so cantankerous, and she speaks a different language that than most of the other people on the planet and where we live speak. So she's hard to deal with, and so her daughter comes every night.
now let me ask you, like, have you got into depth with them? Like, like, how was their relationship where they were younger? I mean, has it been a continuous bond? Like, the
Yeah,
daughter
for
doesn't
her,
feel,
yes.
and seeing that's so beautiful. I love
Yeah,
that.
I
You know,
actually talked to
that like
her.
warms my heart.
I actually talked to her because I wanted to know that too. Because I was like,
Yeah.
I need to see how this, because I noticed some people do these kind of things out of guilt,
Yep.
and I noticed with her, it wasn't that way. It was a genuine love for her mom because she actually had kept her at home for a while, but it got too much.
Right.
So,
And it
yeah,
can.
yeah.
On
I
it.
thought that was pretty cool. But then there are other ones, girl, when you call them, like I had one lady when I was where you lived working, and her children told us never to call them unless she died. And you know what? She was hateful. She was hateful to us. She got so many people fired lying on them, you know. But I think I had to call one day because something happened. And you have to notify.
Yeah.
So I called one of the kids or whatever, and they told me that straight up to my face on the phone. They said, "Is she dead?" I said, "No, she's not dead. This happened, whatever." They said, "Well, we don't care about that. Only call us when she's dead."
And you just, you know, like, I mean, it breaks my heart in so many
Mhm.
ways. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, for my parents, it like breaks my heart because one, like, I'm awesome. I'm amazing. My kids are awesome and amazing. You know,
Right.
we're a blessing. You know, onto it. But it's just, you know, in narcissists, you know, people, the things that like make them so dangerous
Mm-hmm.
is one, because of the fact that they have no empathy. They have
Right.
no anything, but they are the most wounded. You know, I
Yes.
mean, they
Yes.
really are the most wounded, and so it makes them unpredictable. They're completely mentally and emotionally unstable
Yeah.
onto it, and they have this mentality because of those wounds that whatever they went through, other people have to feel it too.
Yes.
You know, where it's like, where like did that disconnect? You know, I've like studied, you know, with the psychology, and I've always like tried to get, and it's just like, you just can't get anywhere with it. But
Well,
it's like, where and how did that complete disconnect come, that you feel that you're entitled? You know how it felt.
but that's in the cells.
Do what? Well,
That's in the
yes.
cells,
Yeah. Well, we know that now
right?
onto it, but it's still, it's like, like, I was molested.
You think it has
And
to come from somewhere.
do what?
I said, because you think it has to come from somewhere.
Right. And, like, when I'll have that conversation with people and tell them, like, I was molested, the first question out of, like, all their mouths is, well, was that person molested? And, like, to
Right.
me, I'm like, it doesn't matter whether they were molested or not. They should have known, like, I was molested. I've never molested another person, because I know how it felt. I know what it did to me. I know the violation. I know how all of that felt, and how miserable and how sad, how depressed, how anxiety. I would never want to put that on another person.
Anybody else? Yes.
But our
But
society goes straight to, well, was that person?
I was going to say, think about it. The reason why they ask that is they want to justify.
Yeah.
Because they
And how,
say,
it's like,
well,
how
if
can
they
we
were
justify
molested,
this?
then that's probably, the reaction that they had, and this is why they did this. But that's bullshit too.
It is. It's just an excuse
Yeah.
onto it, but
And
it
it's
just
like,
shows, like, how like the saying of, like, misery loves company.
right.
Because of the fact that this happened to them, they feel entitled
Yes, that's
to
right.
pass that on to someone else, and it's like, you are just completely disconnected. Like, you could have such an opportunity to be a generation breaker, the curse breaker or anything,
Right.
but you just want to continue that pain.
Same
You want to
shit.
continue. Do what?
I said the same shit. You want to continue the same shit on.
Right. And it's like, why do we want to spread that hate, that anger, that greed, that sadness, that depression? Like, what makes you happy to do that to other people?
So that's the $1,000,000 question.
It is. So if anyone
Because
wants to answer that question, that,
we're open. We would like
We're
to hear,
open.
because I'm like you. I have studied that as well, because I want to know.
yeah.
Why is that, and why is it that in some families you got one that was molested and abused, such as you, and maybe all the kids in the family had the same issues. Maybe they were all molested, but you chose to go a different way. Somebody else chose to be a molester,
Yeah.
or a criminal or whatever. So, how does that work? You got the same parents, right?
Yep.
Same DNA.
Same DNA.
So how does that work? What is the key to that?
Well, it's that inner processing. It's that inner, and it's the empathy. It's, and taking the aspects, even on a religious standpoint, of the 10 Commandments of treat others how you want to be treated.
Yeah, the golden rule. Yeah.
And I live my life that way, and so it's that combination. But it's like, yeah, where do people feel they're entitled to spread that? And, like, that's, like, my question is just, like, how are you happy about yourself? How are
Right.
do you feel empowered? Do you feel strong? Do you feel like, what is that about doing that to someone else in any aspect of any type of manipulation, abuse,
Right.
Of anything? Like, you really, wow,
Because you
really
wonder-
need to sit with yourself.
I was gonna say, you wonder, how do you sleep at night?
I don't think they do.
I've asked people that. I'm like, how do you sleep at night doing this to other people?
Yeah.
How does that feel? But the other part is, people don't feel.
That's true too.
And
They
so
have
many
no
people
emotions.
rather
They
fight than
close
feel.
those off.
You want
But
to shut them
but
down.
something happens to them, they're going to turn around and they want massive sympathy for it, and it's like, no way. And
Yeah.
I just continue to think of, it's so much of that external, like, validation.
Yes.
A great example, like, I think about, of, like love bombing with narcissists.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They're famous. Like, if you're in a relationship and you don't understand why certain things happen, seriously, look up narcissistic abuse. Where things are okay for a little bit, then the fighting starts, then they do something really romantic, reminds you of it. And so you're like, oh, I love you. Oh, you are that person. And everything's okay for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes, like with my ex-husband.
I was going to say, girl, you're describing my marriage.
I know. But it's funny of like how when you finally start picking up those patterns. So like when I separated from him, the reality is I already started picking up those patterns of it. And like our anniversary was coming up. Now he was a little more psycho because he was hacked into my stuff. He knew that I was actually planning on leaving him and stuff like that. So he kind of called me out on it. But so like for our anniversary, like he kept asking like, what do you want to do for our anniversary? And I was like, nothing. Like we are not in a good place, like it is nothing to be celebrated. There's nothing. And yeah. Well, 2 days after I said get out. But the reality, so he and I actually, because I'd already started figuring out the love bombing, like, I'd already started some of the self-analyzing, and I realized in our marriage that like every gift I got, any special occasion, I now could trace it back to a fight or some situation or something that happened, and that was the distraction that I fell for, during it. And so, we are in a horrible place right now. And so, one of my friends and I was like, he's going to do something. He's going to put, I was like, he's going to put something out on Facebook. He's going to put something out there and stuff like that to make it look like he's this greatest, sweetest guy and stuff like that. And so, like, he was working night shift at that time. And so, and I normally, it was great because I never saw him. Because of the fact that, like, when he would get home, I'd already left to take the kids to the school, and then I went to the gym, and then when I'd come home, he'd be sleeping. So it was, like, great, never see him, and then by the time he got up to go to work, I was out with, I coached soccer and all that, so I was doing all that. It was great. But he made a purpose to come home early that day. And I'm getting ready. I'm ignoring him, everything, He brought flowers and all that, and I just, like, stuck them on the counter and stuff. And he's like, get on Facebook, get on Facebook. And I was like, no, I'm not getting on Facebook. And so then he brings, has my youngest son bring my phone over to me, and Facebook is up on it and stuff. Girl, it was this long, drawn-out freaking message. This long, oh, if you have a love like her, blah, blah, blah. And, like, I'm reading it, and I'm like, oh, God, this is great. I mean, this is all true about me. It's wonderful. This is great. I am the greatest wife. I am, like, I am awesome, all this type of stuff. And I looked at it, I finished reading it, and I was like, thanks. Girl, he looked at me dead in the eyes, and he was like, what? He's like, I got bitches on there crying that that's the sweetest thing that they've ever read in their whole entire life. And I looked at him, and I said, and who's it for, them or me? Because I don't believe a damn bit of it. I walked out the door. So, left, go to take the kids to school, and I went to the gym afterwards. Come home. I get to the gym. He's in the parking lot. Now, mind you, so we had actually joined the gym a year before because it was to try to make a connection again because we both had liked working out and stuff like that. So maybe we could do something together. This was to fix the marriage, type thing. But of course, like 2 months into it, he stopped going, so it's just me going to the gym. So I go in and I'm like, oh my God, like what the hell? So what does he do? He goes in, he goes to the one class that, we started out together. He dropped out of, I'm still doing. Goes in, he's like, oh, it's our anniversary. I decided I should be at home sleeping, but, I want to be here with her, So everyone's like, oh, he's so sweet. He's, oh my God, look what he's doing.
How did you have such a wonderful husband?
Oh my God, yeah. And so he sits there and criticizes me, like, during the whole entire workout, everything like that. And I'm like, you can go, go. And of course, everyone, oh, look how sweet he is. Oh my God, you know, and so then, like, after the class,
girl, I'd have been like, you want him?
I know. Well, so then afterwards, like, after the class, I always went and worked out in the gym. I would do arms or legs or whatever and stuff. And he's like, all right, it's time to go home. And I was like, you can go home. And he was like, aren't you coming? And I was like, no, I'm not done. I'm sorry, you have your routine, I have my routine, like, go do. So I went in, and of course he sat there criticizing me the whole time, and like I had like one of the trainers, because I also coached a soccer program at this gym. So like not only now do I work out here, but like I work here kind of now, and everyone, and no one like knows him or anything. But he did all of that, and it's that narcissist, because he knew I was getting ready to say I wanted a divorce and everything. So then 2 days later, like I couldn't take it anymore, and I was like, dude, you need to go. Like, go on it. But what did he do? I'm the victim of the narcissistic abuse. But now I look like the bitch.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that now when everyone's like, oh, well, where's he at? And I'm like, oh, we separated. But he was so sweet. He just posted that thing on Facebook. Oh my God, he so loves you. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you have no clue.
You almost want to say, you don't live in my house.
Yeah. Well, my favorite saying, and it's so funny because it's, certain things you say or things you don't necessarily realize why. My favorite saying used to be, looks are deceiving.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So true.
But it's so much, it's that external validation, which people don't pay attention. People are so caught up into it. And I think narcissists and people who do other things, they're so caught up on that, but they don't sit at home. They don't sit at home, and you sit at home plotting against other people. Well, if you do that, there's something wrong with you.
Yep. That is so real. And yeah, speaking to that, same type of experience as far as, the narcissist. And because people used to say this to me, oh my God, your husband is so handsome, and he treats you so well, and he buys you, because he always bought me nice jewelry.
Yeah.
Nice, always.
It was covering up a lie.
Well, what it was making up for what he was doing.
Yeah.
For the cheating. He was like, okay, well, if I just, give her something nice and whatever, and I just do this for her, then, it's going to look fine and it's going to be good for me, Because people are like, your husband gave you that? I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh. And then after, we got ready to separate and everything, which that was the third time for me that I had left him. Well, actually, he left me the last time, but I left him the other 2 times because I was like, I can't do this anymore. And you know what happens, right? They come and they say, oh, I love you, and I love the kids, and I really want you back, and I'm going to change, and I'm going to be this other person, and I'm going to stop doing those things, and I'm going to treat you like you're supposed to be treated, except for, no.
Yeah. Well, see, I had a little.
And they do for like a month, 2. I think the longest for him was maybe 6 months.
Well, see, when I kicked him out, he disappeared. There was no contact for 3 months. It was the greatest 3 months
that's nice.
of like my life. Well, see, what's kind of funny, and this is another red flag, people. So, like years beginning in the marriage, like we did marriage counseling, like early in, because it was bad, and the therapist kept telling him it was him, it was him, it was him. Well, then it became, you're stupid therapist, you're stupid therapist, you're stupid therapist. So we quit counseling onto it, which, ding, ding, ding.
Well, it wasn't doing you any good anyway.
Right, because it was just causing more fights, everything like that.
Yeah.
It became. So this time around, like, I was willing to go to counseling. I was willing to see, but I was like, we have to be separated, because a lot of stuff is going to come out. You need to have your corner, I need to have my corner, because it's not good for the kids. Onto that aspect on it. I was like, but I'm not picking the therapist. I'm not picking, because I'm not going to hear this time around your stupid therapist. But like I got 5 therapist names. 5 therapists, that if, he would have been like, all right, eeny, meeny, miny, moe, I would have called. I would have set up the appointments, because that was the good little wife that I was. I handed all, all those type of things. I had that big old calendar out, and everything with the colors and everything, it was all scheduled out.
Girl, you were really good.
Oh, yes, I was. All the meal planning, everything, it was all set out, I did all of that stuff.
Wow.
Oh yeah. But,
look, you were a good wife.
I was a good wife. I am a good wife. What you talking about?
I was going to say me too.
But so like 3 months later, he finally like called and he was like, I want to see the kids and stuff. And I was like, okay, So he comes up and he's like, all right, I'm ready to do therapy.
What the
And
fuck?
I just like looked at him and I was like, dude, that ship sailed. Like, there is no therapy now. There is no, and that's when like I completely underestimated him, because now like this is now the third time I have shut him down. You know, like he's hoping, because you know, and a lot of times like when you go through like narcissistic abuse, you know, your nervous system is so out of whack because it's
Yep.
always coming out at you left field. So a lot
Because
of
you stay in
times,
fight or flight.
right, or freeze or fawn, you know,
Right.
you're always in that. So a lot of times like these outbursts and how things necessarily of how they do that love bombing, you had a massive explosion, you had an emotional outburst of something that caused, you know, that to happen, that they were like, oh fuck, I gotta do something, because their whole out exterior world is gonna like fall apart. And so that is like me, like that was how I was raised and stuff like that. You know, it was finally like the boiling point. We've talked before about, you know, like the soda bottle, where it's like, you know, emotions of, think about it, of like you're shaking that 2 liter bottle and it finally gets to the point and that lid just explodes off. Well, a lot of us who have been through narcissistic abuse, that's how you react to things. So that is how I reacted to normal things. So he's thinking like, oh, you just need a cool off period. Oh, you know, things are gonna. This is just one of your reactions. Where no, I woke up. I've had my. I'm starting to have my awakening, and that's
Right.
what it takes. You know, like for us. I mean, what was your awakening on, you know, that aspect? Because that's what happens. You got to have that awakening of that desire of where it's like, shit, I deserve more. I'm gonna get more, you know, and I'm not gonna put up with this anymore. And you know, and it wasn't just him, you know, I had to. The reason
It's your
I
whole life.
attracted him, yeah. The reason I attract, like, people like are funny. Like, I don't talk about like my ex and a lot of my healing aspects because of the fact, like, I mean, he was psychotic and he did a lot of things, but where I have focused on is the root of what caused it, that I allowed him into my life. And
Right.
the fact of the matter is I used to always say too, and comes into manifesting, people, of like your thoughts and your words. I used to always say, if I ever got married, I was gonna have to marry someone crazy, because if they wanted to put up with my family. And what the hell
You
did I
spoke it
get?
out for yourself.
I manifested it. You know, that's the reality of it. And, you know, I can laugh about it now because of like, I see it and, you know, I recognize it. But the fact is I manifested it. I put that
Yeah.
out into the universe. I needed someone crazy to deal with my family. And now look, I don't even have my family because I've healed. And that's where it's like, I've realized, well, that's how I attracted. Because like, even though I changed, I left my childhood house. I left, moved 8 hours away, packed up, said, peace, got the hell out of there. I still attracted everything, because changing your environment is not enough. The fact of the matter is I didn't change my mindset. I hadn't healed. The fact of the matter is my wounds were infected.
Yeah.
You know, and I left myself prey to narcissistic type people because I never healed. I never did any of that. So I don't focus a lot on like what of his stuff. It was, how do I stop making that happen? How do I
Yes.
stop getting these type of people into my life?
In
And I
your
have
life.
to go back to the roots,
Yes.
the childhood, and you have to work back through. And you know, spiritual, a lot of people focus on that inner child. You got to get to your inner child. Well, guess what? Depending on what age your spiritual awakening happened at, you got your inner teen, you got your 20s,
Your inner tween.
you got your 25-year-old, you got your 30-year-old, you got your 35-year-old. You know, mine was 38. Mine's, you know, been a 4-year healing journey, you know, getting me to all of that. And like, that's like that oasis, I think, of where I got, is because like I had worked on like, you know, a lot of those mother wounds, the father wounds. You know, I got to my mid-20s, but then I was trying to jump because no one talked about, you know, the teenage wounds and, you know, all of that.
Yeah.
And that's where we're the most damaged.
Well, you know, the thing is, people still not talking about it.
No, they don't.
Because if you think back to that time in your life, ooh,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
I love to laugh, and so I have to laugh about that kind of stuff.
Laughter is the best medicine. And
Oh yeah,
people,
it
some
is.
people are like, how can you laugh at that? Like, how? And I'm like, because I look at who I was at
And
that
where I
time
am now.
period and who I am now. And like, I couldn't even imagine allowing that type of stuff into my life now.
Right, right. And the thing is it's so important that people realize that, especially in relationships, because you'll look up and marry the same damn man. It'll be the
And you
same
wonder why nothing's
energy,
changed.
right? And wonder why your ass is still going through the same stuff.
Yeah,
So
because
it's
your
like,
mindset, everything, like, and that's why, environment is important, but it's also who are you
yes.
hanging out with? You
Hmm.
know, if you don't like, if you're a thug and you're a criminal, I'm gonna assume most of your friends are thugs and criminals.
Right.
If you're a millionaire, I'm going to assume most of your friends are millionaires. It's kind of, it's that chain of that environment, but it's such that mindset. Lacking mindset. A blessed mindset.
Right.
There's God. There's just so much, so
It is.
much.
I mean, you could unpack it for years.
It does. I mean, look at us. I mean, and we're still unpacking. We still have different things that
Yep.
come up, but
Still unpacking, still moving and shaking.
yeah, but we've done that whole mainline work, of we've balanced and reprogrammed our nervous systems. We've changed our
Yes.
DNA. We've recognized it. So it's like now when the stuff comes up, what's that saying? He who laughs the longest. Well, guess what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
The
laughing for the
longest,
rest of
the
my
best.
life.
Me too. I was
But the
just
people
putting
who
some sage
did
on, girl.
But the people who did the damage, they laughed when it was happening because they knew what they were doing. Well, they ain't gonna be laughing at the end of it.
Mm-mm.
On it.
No, because because as you awaken, then you begin to take your place.
Yeah.
You begin to realize who the hell you are.
Yep.
That's the key. I
Yeah.
yeah, I actually was just speaking to someone earlier, and I was like, you don't realize who you are. I was like, you've been a healer in many lifetimes. This is not your first rodeo. So you've been a healer. So it's not new to you. And I think a lot of
I think a
times
lot of
when
people don't
we
believe in past lives.
yeah, well, this was not that kind of person. This was a
Oh,
person like us.
okay.
Yeah, they know. But yeah, so they don't realize that the healing is already in them. That's what I'm saying. It's already in you. You
It's
don't
in
gotta
all
go
of
get
us.
it. That's what I
Oh, you just froze. Earth to Tammy.
gotta go get it. You've already been this before. So
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I guess we're done. Because it just went.
Yeah, it was surfing. But and that goes back
But
to
yeah,
it's
but the
that
healing,
law.
it's already in you. It's and you have to just tap into it. That's the thing. That is the major thing. It's like that it already is. You've already done it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like you haven't ever done this before.
But it goes back to, and I love learning about like the universal laws and everything like that. But it's the universal law. It's the law of polarity. If you are wounded,
You love that one.
I do. I do. It's like my new catch. But it's true. If you are wounded, there is a version of you that is healed.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's, what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on the wounds? Are you focusing on that, or are you processing to make that vision? Take it back to where we started out tonight.
Yes.
Can you see that healed version of yourself? Can you picture yourself actually living the life that you want to be living? Because the reality is that is in you. By law, it is.
So
You got a battery, positive, negative.
right.
It's the same aspect.
And you can't put the positive with the negative and the negative with the positive.
Right.
You gotta put them like they belong.
Right. And so it's like, you got to focus
You know
on
what?
that. Focus on what you want to build, not on
Yes.
what you're
Where you
going
are.
through right now, because everything
Yes.
in life is temporary.
It's temporary.
Everything.
Yes.
Everything. So what do you
I'm
put
telling
your
you,
faith and vision in?
I gotta share this song that popped up in my head as you were talking. I don't know if you remember the Wiz from years and years ago. Michael Jackson, Diana Ross. It was
Yeah.
like the
Okay.
Wizard of Oz with the Wiz.
Yeah.
And they sang a song in there that was like, "Can you feel the brand new day?" And when we were saying that, I was like, that is so right. Can
Yeah.
you feel it? Can you
I
feel the
can.
brand new day?
I can.
You know,
You know, I can, and it's taken me though. It's taken me years, and that's where it's like, do not compare your path. Do not, because
No.
one day, like people are, some people who like know me, they're like, I'm so proud of you. I wish I could be like you, and I'm like, you can. You can.
No, because it's my journey.
Well, but they can be like me because they can take the same steps. Like they're awakening. They see the things, and well, here's some things
But
that
you
I
have to
did.
think about it like this. I was going to say, you have to think about it like this. What makes you you is you.
Yes.
The things you went through.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like you might want to emulate somebody, but do you really want to go through their journey? Hell
Oh
no.
no, I don't think. No, no. And I
You
don't
know what
want
I
to go
mean?
through
So
theirs.
that's the way I was. No, no. I'm good with my journey. I've done it. It's good. We're doing it.
I've done it a
But
couple
to be
times.
honest,
Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't think a lot of people could actually deal with some of the things that we individually have dealt with.
No,
You know what I mean?
no. I say that all the time. I'm like,
I'd
some
be
of the
like,
stuff that I've dealt with, other people, it would have made them crumble. It would have broken. They'd be
I
in
was
a
gonna say
mental
you've been in a
hospital
nut house.
straitjacket. Yeah, they'd be
Hmm.
in a straitjacket,
You've
locked
been
up in a
sitting
padded
there
room.
rocking,
Yeah.
or you be
But but
serious
I did that.
alcoholic.
I was an alcoholic, for never diagnosed or anything like that. But God, I drank my teens and my 20s away. I mean,
Hmm.
I drank, you know,
Yeah.
because that was how I knew how to deal with it. It was also the example,
Well,
my parents
it's a
drank.
coping mechanism that's acceptable to people.
It is.
If you go and you going off doing heroin and all that kind of stuff, well, that's not acceptable to society.
Right.
But drinking is acceptable because we all do it. We're gonna go to the bar, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's okay. But nobody looks at the fact that you're drinking every day, all day.
Yeah.
You have to have a drink. You got to have a drink to get up. You got to have a drink to go to bed. All these things.
Yeah. What is it
You
that
know.
is making them? They just judge the person. Oh, they're an alcoholic, or that person.
Right.
Well, what
But
is it
there's
that
something.
person's escaping?
Yes, there's something underneath that they don't want to deal with, and that's okay. But once you begin to awaken and see, that there are patterns and that these are things that we can actually heal and that we can go, even though we've been here, we don't have to stay here. That's the thing. Okay. So let's close up.
Yeah. We can just go on and on and on,
I know it. I'll be thinking about my sister because I know you're later, and for me
Yeah.
it's still early, kind of. But I just need to eat.
Well, that's why I brought it back onto that faith and that vision and that polarity
Yes.
onto it. But it is, and so I guess I want to give people who watch us. And by the way, thank you all. I mean, we've had over Tammy's YouTube channel is a lot more advanced than mine, but we've had over 200 of you guys watch, and that just
that's amazing.
we're touching.
It kind of touches our heart.
It's great, but your homework is, what are you avoiding?
Yes.
Really truly think about it, and what are you avoiding, and can you envision that change? Can you envision that difference, that the law of polarity? Can you see the opposite of what you want? Because if you can vision it, you can see it, and therefore you can conceive it.
You can get it.
No, you can conceive it. It's
Yes.
possible.
And you
We
can
are
receive
proof.
it. And that is so powerful. I'm just super grateful, just for this time and for us coming together, because it's just so amazing how we met, and it's so amazing the synchronicities.
Yes.
You know,
That I laugh at
the
all
places
the time.
that we've both been,
Yeah,
It's like,
places
oh
we've
my God,
lived, all that,
wow,
and
how did this even happen? You know?
and the age
Yes.
difference, and that's like even like beautiful too, because it just shows of
Yeah.
open your mind, open for those connections, be open,
Yes.
stop closing off, and
Yes.
you're not alone,
Yes.
and you will
Yes.
be
Say,
surprised at the
you know,
amazing connections you've made.
I
Well, you
always tell
can make.
people, say yes. Say yes.
Yeah. Well, if it feels good to
Sometimes
your
we have to say
intuition, again.
yes. Right? Because
Yes.
sometimes, we just, it's like the universe, God, source is waiting for us to say yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Answer that call.
Yes. Answer the
Answer
call.
that phone. It's
Pick
not
it up.
spam.
Don't send it to what the old people used to say, don't send it to caller waiting.
Well, on that note, I say we say goodbye.
Yes. Good night. Good night.
Good night, everyone,
It's been
and
a
we
blast.
hope that you have enjoyed our episode of Ebony and Ivory, and we look forward to joining you again next week.
Yes, and if you guys, want to reach out, you can reach out to either one of us or both of us even, because we have some big plans coming up. You just heard our big vision, and I'm excited about it. And I feel like the needle is moving for all of us.
It is that
And it's
stagnant
like,
energy of that dance. Do a little dance.
Oh.
Make a little noise. Get
Look,
down tonight.
you want me to send us out with that?
Yeah.
Casey and the Sunshine Band. All right. Hold on, we got to get through the doggone commercial.
The ads.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here we go.
What did Rachel's post talk about the other day? Shaking your butt? Shake it. All right, girl. Well,
Let's
you
do
have
it.
a wonderful evening.
Do a little dance. Make a little love. Get down tonight. Get down tonight. All
Make a
right.
little love,
Thank you for
everyone.
joining. Make a little love, do a little dance, and get down. Enjoy the rest of your week. We will see you next Wednesday. Same bat time, same bat station.
Yep, and we'll try to have it all broadcasting correctly.
I ain't gonna make that promise because
I said try. Keyword
I was gonna
try.
say we do what we do.
We're trying. We're trying.
And we'll pray for
And that's half the
technology.
battle. Trying.
Yes, exactly.
All right, girl.
All right. Good night.
Night.
Bye.